Cartoon Network celebrates 27 years of being on air as one of the biggest companies involved in television animation. I wanted to celebrate it by sitting back and reflecting on the past 1 year period between this and last October of 2019. Hopefully, like my end of the year list, I can make this a yearly tradition. In fact, consider this the next edition of my Cartoon Network in X year series that I've done a few times on this channel. I'll go over the shows that have made their last appearance, shows that have yet to air this year, upcoming shows, and everything in between. So sit back, grab a snack, this is gonna be long, let's get into this. I also want to say that all of this was written in the perspective of the United States. So all of the airing dates that I use are airing dates that happened within the United States. Also plug in my amino. I wanted to get the sad stuff out of the way first. We have two CN originals that have met their unfortunate end, Mighty Magiswords and OKKO, Let's Be Heroes.
Oh, I think I know how we can spice this up a bit.
Muscle Yar Magisword!
If you did not know, Mighty Magiswords is a wacky comedy adventure cartoon about two warriors for hire that went on many adventures revolving around using, finding, or interacting with Magiswords, essentially swords that had different abilities. I enjoyed the cartoony nature of the show, and I remember covering the initial shorts a long time ago, in hype for the big show. These shorts would premiere as early as 2015, but the show itself, in its 11-minute nature, would have premiered in the US the year after. With 92 episodes under its plate, its last episode premiered September 6, 2019. That's a pretty massive amount of episodes, even for what appeared to be a pretty episodic show. I remember the show being hyped up incredibly December of 2016, going into January of 2017. I took note of its heavy advertising under the marketing gimmick of collecting the swords in an app, as the episode in which the sword would appear took place, or something of that nature.
Phil stole the dolphin Magisword. You're too sleep deprived to do much of anything, aren't you? Okay, I'll do it. But you have to give me some really awesome Magisword for it.
However, post-January's push of Mighty Magiswords, the show would take a long fall. Such a long fall that going into the 2018 and 2019 time period, the show didn't really have a strong pulse. If anything, the show would be known for, well, one of the main characters in general, don't ask me, ask the comments, and a cameo from Radicles of OKKO fame.
Introducing our special guest star! This guy we definitely know.
Oh, hey, so, what are you guys? Some sort of fan club for me?
More on that show later. As much as I enjoyed the quick-paced nature of the show, I understood that it wasn't for everyone. If I could ask for anything, it'd be that if the show were to do well, that we would have at least gotten a limited print run of cards, or the swords themselves, whether it's in a tiny collector's nature, or a life-size edition of them. I know that digital cuts out a lot of costs when it comes to collecting, but without getting into the whole physical versus digital spiel I went on months ago, at least with physical cards, if the app goes away, I still have what I worked to collect. This show will be missed regardless. Seeing as we're getting on to the next decade, OKKO Let's Be Heroes will be remembered as one of the best shows of this decade. Coming off the Adventure Time Flapjack Dynasty, Ian Jones-Quartey created a comical, nerdy, action-packed show about a young hero trying to become the world's greatest hero, alongside his friends working in a bodega. Like Mighty Magiswords, the show revolves around a collectible, POW cards, a collectible card that each hero and villain gets, showing their stats. The show felt cartoony like Mighty Magiswords, just in a different way. The art maintained enough consistency to feel polished, but had this level of unpredictability to it, where you could expect each expression to tap into the wildest exaggerations that imaginations can conjure. The show was also heavily inspired by video game culture, which can explain the nature of the villains, and the general mood and pacing of the show, often being very retro. What I enjoyed about the few episodes I covered, in addition to the others that I've watched, is that it retained enough of an episodic nature for me to be able to dive into it, while rewarding myself and longtime fans of continuity, to the point where the last season is pretty much confusing without knowing much of what's going on. The show premiered officially August of 2017 to positive reception. In this year's cycle cycle, it had incredible highlights from the crossover nexus of October 2018 to Let's Meet Sonic of August 2019, two feats that many fans would wish on many shows that unfortunately never get to accomplish such tasks.
Thanks for the help, Tails! He really is gonna make a great sidekick.
What now?
The show would have taken a hiatus from about October of 2018 to May of 2019 to then consistently put out episodes, concluding with the 4-part series finale that aired September 6th of 2019. I'd recommend this show as well if you love wacky, goofy, and wholesome entertainment that has a subtle touch of video game culture. With 112 episodes, I can't say that it has barely scratched the surface, but it does seem like it was canceled before we can get into some deeper episodes for the fans. So it remains unfortunate that some stories can't properly be told. Well, goodbye KO, and hopefully in the future, we can see more from Ian and KO.
Seriously, Fuzzface? Let's get him! He'll just use that device again and the same thing will happen to us.
Moving on, Cartoon Network went wild with its debut of new shows, and most of them I have not covered yet, but I do plan to at least check out. So let's go in chronological order. Bakugan Battle Planet is a show I talked about before in passing when talking about future Cartoon Network projects. I still have zero idea what it's doing on Cartoon Network, if this is leading to anything, but I do know that it launched December of 2018 with the revamped toy line, so I guess that's something. Apparently it has 50 episodes confirmed, of which 38 of these episodes are out in some way, shape, or form. And I only know this because it's available for viewing on the Cartoon Network website. The show went through legal battles before it aired over copyright infringement, and is a reboot of an earlier Bakugan show, Battle Brawlers, not Battle Planet, something that confused me heavily when researching the topic months ago. If you're into Bakugan, I guess this show is for you, but I don't see Cartoon Network bringing in the anime block anytime soon. And when it comes to me and anime, I can say this. If I do get around to watching this show, I'd be open to covering it because it did air on Cartoon Network, and I do like to talk about shows that have aired on Cartoon Network regardless of if it's an anime or not.
You could be the greatest hero the world of man has ever known. You simply lack proper motivation.
DC Superhero Girls goes up there with American Dad and Robot and Monster as shows that interest me a ton that I have yet to cover yet, and I hope to fix that soon. Premiering in March of 2019, the show revolves around Teenage Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Bumblebee, Batgirl, Green Lantern, and
Zatanna! Impressive.
And their adventures being super, but also a teen. I can't say much for the series just yet, but I was an avid watcher of the shorts, and I did see the short that came with Teen Titans Go to the Movies. I enjoyed the direction they went at the time from what I've seen. It felt natural, and I wanted to see them kick butt, while also seeing their struggles throughout high school. It's definitely a show to look out for, being developed by Lauren Faust, and I hope it prospers into 2019 and 2020. Victor and Valentina was a show that definitely snuck up on me. I remember during my binge of Cartoon Network minisodes, this came up as a suggestion, but it didn't interest me at the time to watch it. However, to later learn that a full series would be made of the show, it did pique my interest to at least research what I would be sinking my teeth into. It's a Latino-American folk-themed show, combining some fantasy elements while retaining a great sense of comedy. It follows two half-brothers, Victor and Valentino, searching for strange and supernatural things around the town. The show premiered March 30th of 2019 and has almost 30 episodes to date. I remember watching it when it first premiered like Mighty Magiswords, however I soon dropped interest quickly. It has a few good episodes in it, but I guess the show isn't for me. I also don't hear many people talking about it, but I hope it gets a second win going into 2020 for the fans. But I'm doubtful considering the network's treatment of original shows that aren't in the top 3.
Badgerclops put this on.
Where did you even get this?
I have a million disguises.
Now, speaking of shows that I have sunk my teeth into, Mao Mao, Heroes of Pure Heart. It's a wacky action-adventure show that follows the sheriff, Mao Mao, and his partner in crime, Badgerclops, being stuck in a valley Pure Heart Valley, to be specific, protecting the civilians as Mao Mao fights his way up to cementing his legacy as a legendary hero. This may be my replacement for Gumball, more on that later, as this show speaks to my type of comedy that I enjoy. It's wacky and the action is great. I want to cover it more, as it deserves that type of coverage. While some may point the interest in the third main character, Adorabat, I feel like Mao Mao is an amazing character that has hooked me into binging the rest of the season. The show premiered July of 2019 and has 24 episodes to date. I hope it continues to air tons of new episodes going into 2019-2020 because I'm all behind it. I'm a really big fan of this show.
The antique dealer?
What?
Why?
So we have Scooby-Doo and guess who? Guess who indeed, another iteration of the Scooby-Doo franchise that honestly, I'm not exactly sure why we need it. If I were a Red Panda's uncle, I'd guess that the franchise still makes a decent amount of money, but I feel like you could throw any other franchise in its place and you get roughly the same amount of success. I'd much rather have a return to the structure of a Looney Tunes show before I get another Scooby-Doo show. The unique factor in this? Well, it's not that unique, but each episode has a guest star from Bill Nye to Weird Al to John DiMaggio. It only has 13 episodes out so far, and this show will end soon. Tell you what, if this show ends before they give an episode to Snoop Dogg, I'll give it a shot. It premiered July of 2019. I've heard nothing of it, and if I were to suspect, it'll probably be moved over to Boomerang before the year's over.
Outside?
No.
Outside?
Well,
Outside?
maybe.
Come on.
Well,
Wanna go outside right now?
No.
You wanna do it? You wanna go outside?
Yes, I want to go outside.
Infinity Train is a great miniseries turned potential anthology, premiering all of its episodes in August of 2019. It follows the adventures of Tulip, a young girl trying to get off a mysterious but seemingly infinite train, while getting into life-threatening hijinks and family memories along the way. This has spawned one of the best episodes this year that I'd like to keep a secret, at least for the time being, from my best of list. It's an honestly wonderful concept done masterfully in execution. I can say I at least like each episode. Yes, even Crystal Car, even though I said it wasn't that good, and love more than half of the 10 episodes in the list. If you haven't seen the show, or my coverage of the entire season, I'd recommend it if you're into synthwave, core game mystery goodness.
Whoa! Yeah!
Lastly, there is Power Players, premiering in September of 2019, which is the month that I'm recording in. I don't know much about it so far, but it seems acquired and not an original show. It's a France/United States project, 78 episode set, with the premise being as follows. This is a quote. There's a new team of secret heroes in town, and they're the least likely of champions. Toys. Brought to life by a hopeful child, these little problem solvers bring all of the fun of Mission Impossible as they follow through the mission plans of their creator. Now, a little boy and his toys can change the world, and for his friends. Woo? I guess it's something to look forward to, I don't know. So far, we seem to have about 4 series and a spin-off or movie that are planned to be coming out. Mind you, I don't take into consideration any rumors, any talks about a potential show, or anything that doesn't have a set production, green light, or at least verified sources confirming its existence. So let's talk about the Fungies, or the Fungies. As Deadline writes, this is a quote, the prehistoric comedy from Stephen Neary will explore Fungi Town, or Fungi Town, through the whimsical quest of Seth, one of the town's young mushroom inhabitants. In his search for the ultimate adventure, Seth often stirs up trouble for Fungi Town's colorful inhabitants. But as he comes up with solutions, he always finds a newfound emotional understanding. This series is expected to debut next year.
Now keep that on the rest of the day. What the? We are witnessing a miracle!
The art style is interesting, and I hope it translates better in animated form. The premise doesn't appear to be anything I can really get behind as something new. You could drop this premise under Infinity Train, OKKO, even on another series, Amphibia, and change up a few descriptive words, and it would still make sense. Hopefully it isn't another wacky show turned darker and serious season 2, but gets boring along the way, but a panda can only hope.
Okay, let me just aim this thing for ya. Yeah, it worked!
You also have Tig and Seek, a show that appears to be based off of a short or mini-sode that was a part of Cartoon Network's YouTube channel at some point. Deadline describes the situation as so, quote, Tig and Seek centers in on 8-year-old Tiggy and his gadget-building cat, Gweeseek, as they search for the lost items of Ouija City. With Tiggy's cheerful attitude and Gweeseek's exceptional inventing capabilities, the duo humorously navigates the day-to-day dilemmas of the Department of Lost and Found. Tig and Seek is expected for 2020. I'm excited for this one, and I hope to get that techie adventure feel that this premise promises. There's also Elliot from Earth, created from a former staff member of The Amazing World of Gumball. With only a few pictures to speculate during the beginning of this year when I gushed about it, we have not heard any new update on the show so far. Miyu.fr describes Elliot from Earth as, quote, a comedy animated series about a young boy who finds himself living on a gigantic spaceship with all sorts of aliens from around the universe. It's a show about finding your place in the world, even if it's in outer space. Oh, and his best friend is a dinosaur. I want to see it. I hope it's as good as I imagine it to be in my head. Oh, and I just want to say now, if it isn't good, you'll hear about it from me. I'm not going to defend a show that drops the ball if it's that bad.
Hey there, everyone. My name's Lion-O, and I'm the star of a new show called Thundercats Roar.
Lastly, but not least, at least in the series department, we have Thundercats Roar. I have talked about this in its own dedicated video, but to summarize, it's another reboot that people don't like despite no episodes being out, and the creator of one of those reboots, Teen Titans Go, being responsible for this previous reboot, Thundercats 2011, which many people seem to like, which leads me to believe that people see the art style in one YouTube video and assume it to be the worst thing ever. It's probably going to be a rough debut, which is probably why they're pushing it back so much. Many people are going to jump on and hate it, but if it is as bad as people expected it to be, then I will feel comfortable jumping in on the hate train. Not before.
No, just a little bigger. That's the one.
Now for the spin-off slash movie department, apparently We Bare Bears is up to some big things. Deadline reports this as, quote, in We Bare Bears the movie, fans will learn that best bros always had each other's backs. When their love of food trucks and internet fame leads to unexpected mayhem, they must go on a wild, hilarious, and dangerous adventure to escape a foe that threatens to tear them apart. A 2020 premiere is in the works. In addition, the article talks about a spin-off potentially creating a We Bare Bears universe. It's rumored that the spin-off will revolve around the baby bears, but I couldn't find enough articles that confirm that, so it's just speculation to me at this point. Will I watch the movie? Of course, I love We Bare Bears. It's one of the reasons I started this channel. I wanted to cover episodes like Panda Sneeze and Burrito, and I hope to cover more, as one of the latest episodes may be in my best of 2019 list. Super excited, as always, for the Bear Stack. Now let's get to the shows that did not end, did not premiere, and are not in the works. The shows that have had a multi-year run that are going into 2019 and 2020. I'll start with the latest shows and go backwards to the oldest shows that are still airing new episodes. The newest show to have lasted a year is Total Drama Daycare. Actually, wait. Total Daycare Drama. No, wait. Oh yeah. Total Dramarama. It's a spin-off and a prequel set in an alternate universe of Total Drama, and kind of surprisingly 16. Again, emphasis on the kind of. When we initially heard about our favorite teens fighting for a cash prize on a rundown island being babyfied, it wasn't exactly a positive reception. Now that the show is out, well, it isn't a positive reception still, but I can at least appreciate that the show offers to those who just want to see Total Drama Island but in a daycare somewhat, a pretty solid 40+ episode venture. The show is still in its first season, despite airing episodes as early as September of 2018. However, it appears to be getting a second season. I'm not sure if I would call this spinoff wildly successful, but like the other shows on here that are built off of previous shows, we could be getting the Garfield show effect, where the show goes on for like 5 seasons, and you don't know why it aired as long as it did.
Bumblebee, is that you?
Transformers is often considered a great example of a recognizable franchise that has stood the test of time. It's still relevant today. However, I wouldn't blame you if you had zero idea about Cyberverse. It started to air episodes September 1st, 2018, and it seems to be on its next season, or chapter, titled Power of the Spark, that should be releasing about 18 episodes. From my own personal experience, the episodes don't air in any prominent time slots, and when I look up Transformers Cyberverse, one of the auto-completed results is Transformers Cyberverse Toys. So again, this should tell you everything you need to know about the series. I'm not the biggest Transformers fan, but if this is their way of trying to get more people into the series, it's a very ineffective way to do so. If they're trying to connect with their core Transformers audience, then alright, then this is out of my scope. If there's any fan out there, do you like the show? Does this resonate with you? From what I do know, Hasbro released the series on its official channel, which again, interesting. But anyway, it's confirmed to be getting a third season, so add this to the shows that will be on the back burner. I remember hearing about Fully Charged, wanting to at least sink my teeth into the first Mega Man TV series that I would personally see. It's not the first one, by the way. It aired its first episode, Throwing Shade, in August of 2018. What was interesting to me was the art style. It's pretty polarizing, with some thinking that its clean and vibrant look may actually come across as too childish. Many episodes were written by Man of Action, who also worked on Ben 10, Generator X, Big Hero 6, and Monsuno, among many others, which should have given it a level of legitimacy knowing that the work that this team has put into other shows. The problem is, it didn't, coming out of the gate with ratings as low as 0.2. It didn't seem like it would catch on and perform well, at least from a television perspective, rather than its eventual toy perspective. To put into perspective, 0.2 is roughly equivalent to about 200,000 views. There are YouTube channels that get 1 million views in a day, and these are episodes that have tons of people working on it. There doesn't seem to be any hard sources on a second season, so for right now, 52 episodes. As far as we know, that's pretty much it.
I wanna stay with you on Summer Camp Island.
Ugh. From July 7th to July 9th as a marathon, it got me personally sick of the show. I would later, after months of going out of my way not to watch it, revisit it and be pleasantly surprised with the quality. Despite having one season completed starting July 7th of 2018 and finishing up July 21st of 2019, it has a season 2 in store for later this year, with a third season planned after that. I feel like it'd be a little disingenuous to talk about the ratings here because they aren't indicative of interest over time, as 20 episodes, think about this for a second, 20 new episodes aired July 7th of 2018, with the remaining episodes airing a year later, June to July of 2019. That doesn't show the week-to-week interest of the show accurately, as Cartoon Network decided to firebomb 3 days with it. Now that doesn't mean that Cartoon Network has it on fast forward, as you wouldn't confirm a third season of a show that hasn't even aired its second season if you were trying to rush it, but considering that from the last aired episode being in July of 2019, and its airing of its last reruns being a month after on the main network, it follows the year's prior pattern of airing a bunch of new episodes, then going into hiding for a long time. I don't know about that.
That was quick.
Craig of the Creek is a great example of a show that isn't always the focus or top show of Cartoon Network, that has carved out an audience regardless. I hear many great things about the show, from its great main character being a great example of writing a black family, its homage to older Cartoon Network shows, and just having that old vibe of having an adventure and a slice of life adjusted but childlike way that gives it a special charm. It premiered its first episode in March of 2018 and maintains a consistent audience to this day. Like Summer Camp Island, Craig of the Creek is airing its second season but has a third season confirmed. I've been an observer of the show, and from an outside perspective, I've been impressed with the amount of videos that people have put out about the show. I may give it a second chance after not being pulled in from the first handful of episodes. Who knows, I may end up enjoying it, but for now, it still stays in my not for me bag.
These feel wicked. Yeah, wicked.
Getting to our last show in 2018, here is Apple and Onion, a Cartoon Network minisode that turned into a mini-series that is now a full fleshed out show that is confirmed to have a second season on the way. I personally was very impressed with the first episode and was really close to reviewing it, and I hope I can get back on the hype train and praise the show going forward. I'm not the biggest fan of musicals, however I found it to work in the show because I feel compelled by the main characters. They're pretty dorky, but I love them, I love their quirks, and I wish to see them succeed because I connect with them. Thus their songs are not as intrusive. Compare this to Alvin and the Chipmunks, and you can easily tell the difference between something that's crafted and something that is manufactured. It aired its first episode February 3rd, 2018, with the last episode in season 1 being released in March 23rd of 2018. So no episodes coming out in 2019. Confusingly, it also aired shorts around this time, with the last Apple and Onion related animation that I know of airing April 7th of 2018. This is a show that probably isn't going to be popular, but I can appreciate the atmosphere that it wanted to create, and I can't wait for it to be back for season 2.
I call Nightwing Caw-Caw!
Oh, cool. So we're all being Robins.
No, Nightwing's different.
He's totally a Robin, dude.
Nuh-uh, was a Robin. Now he's Nightwing.
Unikitty is a show that has earned my praise, literally from episode 1, giving me tons of episodes that I enjoy, that I feel like cover that sugar high, wacky, colorful superhero comedy show that some other show on this list, or maybe even 2 shows now that I think about it, would love to be. Even though it aired episodes as early as 2017, between the last episode of season 1 Bat Kitty, an episode that involves Lego Batman, kind of, and all of season 2, airing its episodes in February and March of 2019, Unikitty has not been on the main channel since March 8th of this year. 7 days since the premiere of its latest episode. That doesn't sound like the best news for the show, and I do hope the show has a strong ending if that's what the future holds. The last thing I'd want is for the show to have a non-ending, where the last episode is just another episode in a pairing. But knowing Unikitty, it seems like that's where the show is going. Interestingly enough, the other show that it apparently gets confused with, Arbuck, formerly known as Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty, aired newer episodes much later than March, leaving a more recent mark, and that's just not right.
Yeah, tastes worse than Grandpa's socks.
Huh? Hey, no fair.
Benton's reboot has been a roller coaster. It seems to have angered the least amount of people, maybe because it wasn't pushed into offensive territory, or because it wasn't shoved down people's throats as everyone's favorite show, or maybe because Man of Action is working on it, as they worked on the original Ben 10. Either way, I found the show to be okay. As a person who's interested in the OG Ben 10 and didn't really stick around for the shows after, I can't really say that I'm the demographic for this show, but I found myself liking more than a few episodes, which is more than I can say about other shows on this list. It still gets some airtime, and it's been a good run so far, with 4 seasons, 2 of which are airing in 2019. The latter of the 2 being its latest, that will air its first episode October 26, 2019. I think Ben 10 will do fine, and even if it doesn't, this doesn't seem like the last we'll hear from Ben 10 as a whole.
I think I'm capable of making responsible decisions, peer pressure or not.
Blow it up! Blow it up!
Speaking of shows that I can't really say I like many episodes from, the 2016 reboot of the Powerpuff Girls. I cannot believe it's been going on for this long, but I can't understand why. Besides contracts usually being the main answer, it looks good on paper to say that you've brought back the Powerpuff Girls, and that it's going strong for 3 seasons. I hope it's the end, because this was not a successful experiment, but it will be extremely fun to look back on, to see all of the magnificent ways that this execution was botched. I'm sure many of us, if the variables were set up right, wouldn't mind a reboot of an older Cartoon Network show. Problem is, the variables here are not set up right. It aired its last episode June 16th, and there is no word on a new season. However, if it ends here, with my personal bias out of the way, it had a good run, at least to any fans out there. 3 seasons is not bad. With over 100 episodes, this show has made its mark, and it should be on its way out now.
I can't see anything. I hear something though. It sounds like water.
Mother Nature, punctual as always.
Yeesh. Talk about a dated name. New Looney Tunes has a very interesting airing history, going from Cartoon Network to Boomerang, then going back to Cartoon Network. Side note, how many shows can say that they went from Cartoon Network to Boomerang and then came back? But anyway, from Cartoon Network to DVD, then from DVD to online, and then from online to Boomerang's video on demand service. Until writing this, I didn't know that New Looney Tunes is just a retooling of the original Wabbit, a Looney Tunes production, as the staff or Cartoon Network or someone wanted to focus on other Looney Tunes characters. That alone should tell you everything you need to know about this show. Even though it's clear that this is a Boomerang show, it airs in the early mornings, at least according to the main channel. I never truly liked Wabbit, and that's what I'm gonna call it, because while it wanted to capture the wackiness and clever slapstick comedy of Looney Tunes, it didn't. It basically gave us another rendition of the Looney Tunes that'll die off for the next one to come out a few years later, so pass from me. The show released a ton of new episodes in late August of 2019, and seems to be releasing more throughout the year.
The real Alpha Bro is here.
Having trouble, Alpha Bro?
Finally back to programming that I can be excited about. We Bare Bears. I cannot believe this show has gone on for so long, but it seems to be going strong, possibly being bigger in markets outside of the United States. I've always been a big fan of the show, and you can go back to the early days of my channel, where I talked about Burrito and Panda Sneeze. Two fantastic episodes of the show. I definitely have more episodes that I want to talk about, but getting into its recent developments, the show is still putting out fantastic episodes. Some that are so great, they're good contenders for my year-end best episodes of 2019 list. However, I think the main developments are outside of the show itself. Despite its latest episode airing May of 2019 and getting regular airtime, just after its most recent episode, as I mentioned before, Cartoon Network announced We Bare Bears the movie alongside a spin-off series, and I'm just excited to see what the We Bare Bears universe or franchise has in store next year. I'm honestly grateful it's still going on this strong.
Got an idea. This always helps when my chop is a barking.
The Tom and Jerry Show, which on top of being an unoriginal name, it's a very passable show. Although I can say I enjoy the show much more than Wabbit, that's not saying much. I think this is a great example of a show that is aired longer than it is relevant, and would not air nearly as long if it wasn't attached to both a series that is legendary and a network that kind of made its concept based off of series such as that. I get the strategy behind these new Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, and Looney Tunes shows. However, their new nature is just too watered down for me to want to sink my teeth into it. You can do a Tom and Jerry show right today. I believe that, but only if you understand why the show worked in the first place. Again, not saying that the show fundamentally misses the mark. I do enjoy quite a few episodes, but surely this series has overstayed its welcome. However, the cynical side of me questions if canceling the show is even worth it, considering a new Tom and Jerry will take its place and will basically be back at square one. It aired a ton of episodes in 2019, dropping its 3rd and 4th season this year on the Boomerang On Demand service.
Answer me.
She's gone!
Steven Universe, a show that is easy to talk about within the context of this year, which isn't the best thing to say. Airing 2 episodes this year, alongside a TV movie, it definitely had a pretty great year as far as impact. I'd go as far as to say Change Your Mind and Steven Universe the movie had a bigger impact than the entire sets of 50-something episodes that come from the new Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry Show, Transformers, Mega Man, and Powerpuff Girls combined. Even though you'd be absolutely insane to say that those 5 franchises are less impactful overall than Steven Universe. That's truly saying something about the state of television animation in 2019. I enjoyed Change Your Mind and Steven Universe the movie. It was surprisingly good, even though I wasn't exactly thrilled to hear that it was a musical. I think the show is coming back for a 6th season because surely it can't end with Change Your Mind. I do have to say, despite its generally polarizing reception here in the community, it definitely made an impact and stands up there as one of the biggest modern Cartoon Network shows.
It's a staple remover.
Teen Titans Go, coming off its 2018 movie release, still trucks on for another year. Yay. The polarizing Reboot manages to have an entire season's worth of new episodes going into 2019. While some may be excited to know that according to Showbuzz, not a single episode has cracked 1 million viewers in first airing ratings, which was an easy feat for the well-aired show in previous seasons, it seems like TTG is coming to a close. Even if the schedule boasts still having many airings of the show, I could be wrong, and it could be going on for 4 more seasons. Only time will tell. By the time this comes out, Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans would have been released to the public. I can't wait to talk about it, but for now, Teen Titans Go really has been on the back burner for me. I will discuss the special, but that's about it for me for the foreseeable future. One of the oldest shows, not only airing new episodes but not slowing down, Ninjago, Masters of Spinjitzu, is an example of a show connected to a toy brand that still works. I've always enjoyed the episodes that I've watched. Granted, most of them are in seasons 1 to 3. However, to tell you that the show had 11 seasons among shorts and films and specials, it'd be a little bit of an embellishment. In fact, its 10th season, on the contrary, that aired in 2019, the entire 10th season only had 4 episodes. However, season 11 has 30, but before that, it's either had 8 or 10 or as much as 13 episodes, which seems a little bit more believable for a show that has gone on 11 seasons. This is an example of a show that has been fully fleshed out. Even if it were to end in 2020, you can't say that the show didn't have a good run. If you count the pilots, the show seems to be going on its 9th year pretty soon. It's an incredible feat, and considering the only other show that I have left to cover in this long list, it's the longest spanning show on the network airing new episodes still, as far as how early it has started, and how recent it's still airing new episodes. Massive respect to Lego, Cartoon Network, and the crew here.
Don't you understand what's going on in Elmore? You have 2 choices. Live in ignorance about what's gonna happen here, or listen to what I have to say. It might just save your lives.
I've talked about this latest season of Gumball extensively, probably the most out of anyone on this platform that I know of, and I still have a lot of minor things to get to and episodes to cover, but to give the general gist, this last season, season 6, hasn't been received the best, despite seasons 4 and 5 being the most popular or talked about seasons on this platform that drove Gumball into being up there with the other big Cartoon Network shows. Season 6 ended with the Inquisition, an episode I talked about where it ends on a cliffhanger, leaving many fans of Gumball upset, so allowed me to read 2 quotes that accurately explains Gumball's current condition. Quotes, the creator of the show, Ben, as I'll call him from now on, later stated on September 6, 2016 that the 6th season will be his last time working on the show, but production can continue without him. However, on October 7th, 2018, he retweeted an article stating that the 6th season will be the last. Though the author of the article made a follow-up article saying that more seasons are still possible. The series is currently on an indefinite hiatus, with its future unclear, end quote. Also, second quote, on September 29th, 2018, during a Q&A with the series director Mick Graves at Cartoon Network UK's 25th anniversary screening, he confirmed that a script for the Amazing World of Gumball movie is in the works. He also said that he hopes for the movie to happen. Ben retweeted a tweet which states that the script for a film based on the Amazing World of Gumball is being written. However, it's currently unknown if the film will actually be made. After the season 6 finale, The Inquisition, met with mixed to negative reviews from fans of the series, was released on the Cartoon Network app on May 31st, Ben stated it was not his concept to conclude the season on a cliffhanger, adding that it would be resolved if a film based on the series were produced, end quote. Based off of these 2 quotes, all I can gather is, it's unclear where the show is heading, despite airing more than shows that have new episodes coming out. I'd like to think that the movie is coming out, but so far, The Inquisition remains to be a bad episode, and a bad season finale, if it is to end there. Well, whew. That was a lot of shows to discuss. I'd like to dive into them further, but I feel like this is a job for separate videos to go into each show and to give them their own spotlight. I have my work cut out for me here. And this is only one network. Overall, I'd say Cartoon Network had a great year, with the Steven Universe movie doing incredibly, Infinity Train knocking it out of the park, OKKO getting a great run, Craig of the Creek doing strong, We Bare Bears and Ninjago doing great, with Mao Mao and DC Superhero Girls leading the way for the new. I can't say this is a bad year. It was a busy year. And the fact that shows like the Powerpuff Girls, the Tom and Jerry Show, and Teen Titans Go slog through for another year, I choose not to focus on the negative here. What do you think about Cartoon Network? What do you think the highlights were? And also, if you enjoyed this video, you should check out the video I did going over Cartoon Network last year. Take this as the next edition of that video, as I did that video in January, which means I'm not going to be doing that video again this January coming up. Anyway, special thanks to the supporters of September. You guys rock. And until next time, take care. Alpha out.